the children of the one Yahweh. Ye are the chosen of the one Yahweh. And he has given this law to us.
Question about the son?
Yeah, what's up?
Which one? You think this is awesome right here?
No, I mean, I think it's good that y'all are raising things. I agree.
What are you agreeing with? What's awful? So what do you think should happen for that? And do you believe in God? Well, okay, what do you think is going to happen because of that? Like what?
That's right.
You want to find out real fast? You want to find out what God thinks about it? I know, we can read what God says though. Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's find out real quick. Look at verse 13. Of course. We only read the Bible up here. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 10.
Bring it out!
He that leadeth into captivity. Now when you meant,
that's captivity right there? That's slavery.
Yeah, read it if you talk. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So that's the retribution. That's what the Most High said. He that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. So eventually, so-called white man and the other nations outside of the Black, Hispanics, Native Americans, which are the true Israelites of the Bible, everybody outside of them are going into captivity for leading us into captivity. So that's the retribution.
I know there are institutions that are starting to make reparations, but I guess you would say that's too little too late.
I would say not only is that too little too late, but the only reparations that they could give us is cash. But the dollar's falling every single day, so what would that do for our people? Because as a result of slavery and the stuff that's happened to us since we've been enslaved, you just look at if you look at the plight of the black man in America, the so-called black Hispanic man, we're over-policed, we're gunned down, we're shot all the time. Our mind states are messed up because of what happened to us during slavery and after slavery. You see our women are just out here being whores, and something that is also a result of captivity because they forced our women to bear children and to be whores during that time. All this stuff, all the evil and wickedness that the so-called black and Hispanic man does in America is a direct result of the captivity that we went in. So there's no amount of money that can repay that, except y'all going into captivity.
That's right.
So that's the retribution. So what do you think about that? Yeah, it's a lot to take in, man. I mean, I would say the same thing too if I was eating mine. But hey, I mean, that's just how it is. That's what the Most High got. You give me Second Thessalonians 1 verse 6. I have hated my heart towards all Edomites. Yeah, I've hated my heart towards anybody outside of these people right here, the Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I have to, because haven't we been loving y'all for centuries, and we've been getting a knife stabbed in our back ever since then. To his people, yeah. He was talking to his people to tell them to do that to his people. He didn't say that to. He didn't say that to. If another nation comes up and they try to attack and put you in captivity, just turn the other cheek. He didn't tell his people to do that. He's supposed to save his people from captivity. He's supposed to be the deliverer. So how is he going to say turn the other cheek if he's not going to turn the other cheek himself? So Christ is going to be a hypocrite then? You see what I mean? See, that doesn't work. That doesn't make sense, man. What else you got? Yeah, to his people. The Good Samaritan? Give me John. Who are the Samaritans?
The Good Samaritans, Samaritans were like, outside.
Let's read it. John chapter 4. Watch this. Where's Samaria at? You know where Samaria is? At that time period, you know where Samaria was? Right there, right? You see that? That's Samaria. You get the other one. Oh, you got the other one? I might need to get my Bible.
Yeah, this on the map I got in mine.
Okay, somebody get my Bible. I want to show you something real fast, right? So you got mine. Check this out, right? Oh, we can get there. I want to deal with the Samaritan thing. I want to show you something. Right? Okay. You see this right here? You see this map right here? You see this area? You got Judah and you got Israel. You know, Israel split up into two different kingdoms, right? You see, this is the time to win us is the kingdoms of Israel and Judah after we split up, right? Now watch this, the same area. Time passed, where's Samaria at? Right here, right here. Where's Samaria at? Right there. So those same people are Israelites. And we're talking about the Good Samaritan, we're going to prove she's Israel. Watch this, right? Because it's going to back it up. Start verse where it talks about her, and then you're going to talk about where it says Father Jacob. Yeah, I want that part. Now go into what she said.
This is John chapter 4, verse 10. Start at 8. Verse 8. For his disciples were going away unto the city to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria.
The woman of who?
Samaria.
Samaria. You're talking about the Good Samaritan.
Unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealing with the Samaritans.
We're going to hop right back on that when we get out this. It said the Jews have no dealing with the people of Samaria. Now jump to the point.
Verse 12. Art thou?
Sorry, 11.
Oh, I'm about to say. Verse 11. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that liveth water? Art thou greater than...
Watch this. Watch what she says. This is woman of Samaria. Watch this.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
Are thou greater than our father Jacob? What does that mean? Her father's Jacob. Who's Jacob's name changed into? Israel. So she must be a what? She must be an Israelite. So she's talking, Christ is talking to another Israelite. The woman who was dwelling in that same land I was telling you about, how Samaria took over the same exact land as Israel. Israelites were scattered there. And what do you say, what if you were Jewish? You're Jewish. Are you Jewish? Your mother is? Okay, check this out. Let's see if the Bible says that. You give me numbers. No, you give me numbers. Numbers 1 verse 18. Now, in the Bible, does it say it goes through your mother? Okay, let's see.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees.
What's your pedigree? What's a pedigree? Your descendancy, right?
No, I'm not practicing.
No, I'm saying, like, what's a pedigree? What's a pedigree, right? What's the definition of that? Of a pedigree, like the word pedigree.
That would be my lineage.
Your lineage, right? Now read that part where it says pedigree again.
And they declared their pedigrees
By what?
after their families,
Yeah.
by the house of their fathers.
The house of their what?
Their fathers.
Their fathers. So your pedigree goes by your father. So if your father is a Jew, then you are a Jew. But those people over there in so-called Israel aren't real Jews. They're not. Because matter of fact, you know Christ had to flee into Egypt, right? As a little child, right? What did the Egyptians look like at that time? Like me, right? So how could he hide? How could he hide from Herod and his men if he looked like that? What does that mean? He has to be a dark-skinned man. So guess what? The Jews have to be a dark-skinned people. That's right. So watch this, right? I want to hammer that in. You got a precept? Okay, give me Revelation chapter 1 real fast. I want to show you one thing. I'm going to show why it would be physically impossible for you to be a Jew. This is Revelation 1 verse 14, right? And you give me Genesis chapter 32.
This is Revelation chapter 1 verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Now, this is talking about Christ, right? This is the revelation of who the world calls Jesus Christ, just like the first verse says. Reading at the top.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Yeah, white like wool. Go ahead.
As white as snow.
As white as snow. It was white and woolly. Now, who on the planet has woolly hair? On the earth, who has woolly hair? Like this, right? Yeah. So go ahead.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Yeah.
And his feet
his feet. Aren't your feet the same color as your body? Yeah, go ahead.
Like unto fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace.
So his feet were like fine brass. Fine brass is already kind of brownish like this. You see this right here? Brownish like this, as if it what?
As if they burn in a furnace.
No, what is that? As if black. So Christ was a so-called black man, and he was a Jew.
Right.
So what does that mean the Jews are? Black. So how could you be a Jew? You couldn't be. You couldn't be. You couldn't be. So
The people who were being Jewish in Europe weren't really Jewish.
no, because the Bible talks about there being fake Jews. Watch this. Watch this. Right?
This Revelation chapter 2 verse 9. I know thy works and tribulations.
So this is Christ talking to the Jews. I know thy works and thy tribulation, what you've been doing in the tribulation you've had to serve. They're not dealing with any tribulation right now. Go ahead.
And poverty.
And poverty. They are not an impoverished people as a nation. Go ahead.
But thou art rich.
But we are rich because we have the kingdom. Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy
Blasphemy is an evil and wicked lie. Go ahead.
of them which say they are Jews and are not.
They say they're Jews and are not. So the Bible says they're going to be a fake people, a fake Jew on the planet. And it also says to the real Jews, I know your poverty, I know your tribulations. They're not dealing with poverty and tribulations. So guess what? They are those fake Jews that they talk about. The blasphemy of them that call themselves Jews. Read that part again.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
They're a synagogue of Satan. What were you going to say? What were you going to say? They have what?
Oh, I was going to say, historically, I mean, the Jews have gone horrible personally. Like in Russia, they would use pogroms, they would like murder them,
Good.
round them up and kill them.
Yeah.
I
So?
mean,
Where's that in the Bible, though?
that's not in the Bible, but
It's not.
historical.
It's historic. You're talking about basically like the Holocaust?
Even before that, like the Jews in Russia, they would do what was called pogroms, and the Russian Tsar's officers would round up the Jewish communities and burn them.
Did that happen to all of them as a nation?
Pogrons.
Did that happen to them as a nation?
In Russia, yeah.
That didn't.
Like all the Jews
I'll say it
in
like
Russia
this:
had
that did not happen to them as an entire nation. Now you look at that, you're talking about. I know about the history on that. That's talking about thousands of Jews, right? Now let's compare that to the plight of the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American men. How many black, Hispanic, and Native American men died in the slave trade? Millions, right? Millions upon millions. How many people died on the way here? Millions upon millions, right? How many people? How many people died in because of Spain? To the Mexicans, right? How many of them died? Millions.
guns, drums, and steel.
Yeah, millions. Let's talk about the Native Americans. When the so-called white man came to America, what happened? Killed his same thing. The same exact thing. So why would I worry about those people, the thousands? It's really, they try to drum up the number and say 60 million. It wasn't even 60 million Jews at that time. Like how they'll talk about with the Holocaust. Those are just fake numbers. Huh? Well, people say 6 and 6. They just bounce back and forth. I've seen
You didn't get to my question earlier, though.
What's
I
up?
think we got it a little mixed up. I was talking about the Samaritan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's in Luke.
The Good Samaritan?
Samaritan. And it's not Sumerian, it's Samaritan. It's Samaritan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Samaritan.
Where's it at?
It's in Luke chapter 10.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we got a little Bible cross.
Go ahead. What's your point when you want that scripture read then? What you want to say
I
about
was
that?
going to say that Jesus was there. Just read the story. It's the Luke chapter 10.
I know, but what do you want to say with that though?
I want to say that Jesus, Jesus was telling a parable. You know, he gave his lessons through parables.
Yeah.
And he was saying, okay, there's a traveler, walking, and someone beats that traveler up, and they, he's just left lying on the side of the road, and, a priest comes by, this high holy man comes by, he doesn't help him. And the Levite comes by, and he doesn't help him. you know, they leave this poor traveler on the road. And finally, a Samaritan walks by, and the Samaritans and the Jews did not like each other. Like the Samaritans weren't.
Yeah. Well, we already proved.
No,
that
but it's Samaria. It's not
time.
Samaria. It's Samaria.
Okay, get that. Go. What's that verse?
SAMARITA.
Check this out. Right. What's that verse that's in though? Get that in the blue letter.
It's in Luke chapter 10.
Okay. What? You know a specific verse? Go. Click it. Click that word Samaritan. Click that word Samaritan,
Anyway.
and let's see. Let's see what that word is.
Jesus said, you know, who's good here? Who's good? Like the Jew, you know, the priest who walked by this poor traveler who was bleeding, or like the Samaritan who actually helped him. You know, and Jesus is just saying, it's the Samaritan that's good.
No, you're talking about you said they're not Sumerians, right? They're Samaritans.
SAMARIT.
This is that same Greek word in that verse you're talking about. Let's see what that is.
A Samaritan,
Yeah.
an inhabitant of the city of Samaria.
So
Samaria.
Samaria, the same thing we just showed you in
But
John.
is that Samaria?
No, it's like Samaritan, just like how you have, just like American, yeah, just like how you have somebody who dwells in America, they're American. Just like a Samaritan is somebody who dwells in Samaria. Now I just showed you, and I want to get one thing before you do that. Here's this.
This is Matthew chapter 15, verse 24.
Yeah.
But he answered and said,
This is Christ,
Yeah.
right?
But
I am
Samaria-
not
Hold on. Don't talk to the Father. Have some respect for the Father.
I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Christ said, what? Read all again.
But he answered and said, I am not sent
I am not sent,
but
except for.
unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So he's only sent to the Israelites. That's why when you see Christ dealing with that Samaritan woman in John chapter, hold on.
Samaritan.
That's when you're dealing with that woman in John. Hold on, let me make my point. When you see Christ dealing with when you see Christ dealing with that Samaritan woman in John chapter 4, it's because she's an Israelite. Just like how you said, she's a descendant of Jacob. Now that same word you're talking about with Samaritan, if you want to play games with the wording, we already went to the Greek. We went to the Greek on it, and that literally means somebody who dwelt in Samaria. The same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's not a difference. The wording's just different because the Bible just does that sometimes.
It's because there was reference in the place, then they referenced the person.
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly.
Anyway, I'm just saying, I'm looking at chapter 10.
Yeah, go
Chapter 10.
Yeah.
Where Jesus said, you know, the priest walks by, highest and high, you know, didn't help the poor man on the road, the poor traveler who didn't think. The Levite walks by, the Samaritan helps him. And the Jewish people did not like the Samaritans.
Yeah, because Israel split up into two different nations, like I showed you in the Bible, and they had beef with each other.
Yeah.
And I showed you that in John.
Anyway, but Jesus was saying to them, like, it's the Samaritan who's been in here in the house of God. It's not this Mr. Priest who's walking by all high and mighty, you know? So don't you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with what Chris said. But what does that have to do with you getting salvation?
What does that have to do with maybe I'm a Samaritan?
You're not a Samaritan. You're not a Samaritan. That's what I'm saying. Where are you going with it? Because Christ said he only specifically came for the children of Israel. So whether or not you want to say that's a Jew or not, that's not going to work with what Christ said, because he said he only specifically came for the Israelites. So why would he say that in Matthew and then turn around and say now this Samaritan person, if they're outside of the children of Israel, can get saved, he's going to get the kingdom? That doesn't make any sense. You see that? Now watch this. You give me Daniel chapter 2 verse 44.
I just want to get my dad into some of the biblical scholars.
Oh, your dad's a biblical scholar, man. That's funny.
So when Jesus came, he said he only came for
He only came for Israel.
He only came for
Ask your dad to break this down real fast. It's really good. Go on, hurry up.
No, it's just
Now watch this. Let's see what Christ said. It's not what I'm saying.
The book of Matthew, chapter 15 and verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So Christ said he's only sent for the Israelites.
What do you like? What verses?
Yeah, so what what verses go with that to override what Christ said, man? Let's get no, I just want to see where she's gonna go first. Oh, on the Samaritan team. Let's go ahead. Go ahead.
This is Isaiah chapter 7, verse 9. And the head of Ephraim,
The head of Ephraim, the northern kingdom, which was that land of Israel who was in Samaria. Go ahead.
is Samaria.
Is what?
Is Samaria.
The head of Ephraim, the children of Israel, over the house of Israel, in the land that inhabited the land of Samaria. It's read again at the top.
And the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
Woo! Oh my God, man! I'm just the Bible, bro.
How you dead?
Yeah, the Bible.
Hey, read that again.
Yeah, just read it again. Let's read it again.
And the head of
Call
Ephraim,
it out. Call it out.
it's Isaiah chapter 7, verse 9.
About the Samaritans.
Tell them break
And the head of Ephraim,
Head of Ephraim, which is the chief house of the northern kingdom, or the land of Israel, like I showed you, that inhabited the land of Samaria.
is Samaria.
What?
Is Samaria.
It's Samaria. That's talking about Israelites. No matter what, even if he helped her, even if he helped her. Oh, you said you're wrong? Oh, okay, cool, right? Now check this out.
So basically, you're saying nothing. You're saying nothing.
I'm not saying anything. I just say what the Bible
The
says.
Bible says. You said
Well, the Bible. Yeah, watch this. Jeremiah. Watch this. I'm gonna read you some verses. I'm not gonna break them down. I just want you to just understand. I want you to come to your own understanding with these. Jeremiah 30.
There we go.
30:16, right? Now these people right here, the blacks, if both according to both of these, right here, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true children of God. Well, I'm doing what you said, because you said you're damned, right? Watch this. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the true children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. This happened to them by your people, right? They got brought into captivity. Now watch this. Jeremiah 30, verse 16.
This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee
That devour thee, the Israelites, and y'all did that. With that,
shall be devoured.
shall is a commandment. It shall happen.
And you want to read it from top? Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be spoiled.
So what does that mean?
that we should be captivated like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. I didn't say anything. You said it. I mean, that's what the Bible says. And okay, let me get you one more. Let me get Isaiah chapter 14.
I already got it.
Oh, wait. Watch this. And then you can say something. Watch this.
The book of Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob,
Jacob, what?
and will yet choose Israel,
Even in the end days, still going to choose us again. Go ahead.
and set them in their own land.
Yeah.
And the strangers shall be joined with them,
That's y'all, right? Go ahead.
and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Yeah.
And the people shall take them,
We're going to do what?
Yeah. and bring them to their place.
Yeah, so y'all coming with us in captivity. Go ahead.
And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids,
Yeah.
and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
So what does that mean? What does that mean right there?
Black people,
Black people?
you said, can White people.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
And they're going to rule over their oppressors. What does that mean?
That means switch around.
Yeah,
Roll over
exactly.
y'all.
That's right.
Y'all over y'all.
That's
right.
That's how the Most High God feels about it. Who am I to try to buck up against it?
So, what action, y'all?
What action you want to take?
Yeah, specific.
I mean, there's no action we really want to take. We just want to preach. We want to preach to. You see those people right there? The so-called black man right there, and his princess right there. So-called. They're the actual true children of God. Just tell all your friends, all your Edomite friends, your so-called white friends, right? Just tell them, look, those people right there,
So
they're gonna rule over you. I said so-called.
I'm so-called white.
Yeah, because guess what? The true nationality. 'Cause you know the Bible talks about nations, right? Like or races.
Because we'll enjoy it.
Oh, go ahead. ahead. But the nation, what I was saying is, in the Bible it talks about 18 nations, and one of those nations are the Edomites, and those are the so-called white people, man. What you get? Romans. Where you got Romans?
Look at Romans 1:16.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. You give me Romans 1. No, you give me Romans 1:16. You give me whole Romans 9. You give me Acts chapter 2, verse 21, right? Okay, cool.
Okay.
No. Revelations.
No, Romans 1:16.
Romans 9.
Yeah, Romans 9.
Romans 9. I'm reading. I'm gonna have to read it. Romans 9. We're gonna make sense of it. Romans 9, verse 3.
This is Romans chapter 1, verse 16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek.
To the who?
To the Greek.
Who's the Greek?
We're on the other side. The Greeks is Gentiles.
No. The Greeks are Israelites. Watch this. What you want? Let's go Greeks. Let's see who the Greeks are.
My hands full.
Maccabees 6.
Yeah, first Maccabees 12.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
want to go to 12?
No, go to the basic.
The basic.
The
All right,
basic.
got you. Second Maccabees. I'm going. Hey, go.
Oh yeah, get this. Why you do that? Get this. Watch this. This is Romans, the same person. This is Paul, the same person who said to everybody who believeth. Let's see who's that everybody, right?
The book of Romans chapter 9 and verse 3.
Yeah.
For I wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren,
Yeah.
my kinsmen,
Yeah.
according to the flesh,
Bloodline descendancy.
who are Israelites,
To whom what?
to whom pertaineth the
The
adoption
adoption. That's the redemption that comes through Christ's death. Go ahead.
And
That's
the-
the gospel of God, really. Go ahead.
and the glory
And the glory of the kingdom.
and the covenants
The covenants, the old and the new.
and the giving of the law
Yeah.
and the service of God
And the service of God. Go ahead, watch this.
and the promises,
And the promises, the Abrahamic promises. Watch this.
whose are the fathers,
Whose are the fathers through the bloodline? Watch, I want you to hear this. Whose are the fathers? They said that salvation. That's how the verse you want to read. That salvation comes through Christ. Now let's see what it says right here by the same person who said that verse you quoted. Watch this.
and of whom as concerning the flesh
The literal bloodline descendancy.
Christ came.
So Christ came for the Israelites, according to the same person who said that in Romans chapter 1, verse 16. Now, when it says to the Greek, you have to realize something. Do you know?
Why would he say it separate from the Israelites and the Greeks?
I'll explain, right? Okay. Who has the apocrypha? You got the apocrypha. Hold that.
And why does John?
I'm explaining. I'm
Say
explaining.
whosoever believes.
I can deal with that too, but I want to deal with the Greek part, right? No, it's saying Greek. Do you know what happened? Let's just deal with the Bible. Let's just chill. Let's just deal. Okay. Now, I'm show you the truth, right? Now, during the Old Testament, there's something in between the Old and the New Testament. Do you know what happened during that time period?
Actually, no. Dad was just telling me that.
It's called the I guess you could say like the Greek Captivity. The Greeks took over the Israelites and forced them to become Greeks. They made them stop sacrificing to their God. Hold on, let me finish. They made them stop sacrificing to their God. They made it to where they couldn't call themselves Jews anymore. They had to call themselves Greeks. And on top of that, they had to stop circumcising their children. They made us separate from everybody else. And they just literally just made us that. And it says that in the Bible. Watch, you got it? Who has it? You get it. Yeah, Maccabees. Watch this. Watch. I want to show you.
I got it. Dang, man, my foot is full.
Come on, all right.
My foot is full. All right. This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days,
Yeah, we couldn't keep Sabbath days. Go ahead.
or ancient feasts,
Yeah.
or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
We couldn't do what?
Profess himself at all to be a Jew.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 41. We couldn't call ourselves Jews. This was a commandment by the Greek king himself. Watch this.
But I
Watch
thought
this.
y'all said the Greeks were Jews.
No, I'm saying that Greek in Romans chapter 1 verse 16 are Israelites. That's what he's talking about. Because you can't say, you can't say that that's talking about everybody, because that same person who said that in Romans 1 verse 16 said everything is for the Israelites. The covenants, Christ coming for them, the redemption through his blood, the kingdom, all that's for the Israelites. So the only conclusion you can come to is he's talking about the Israelites who were in the Greek captivity who had to call themselves Greeks. That's what I'm trying to say. And watch this.
We're going to back it up. This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse Maccabees, the Greek captivity. This in the Bible, 1611. 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom
A Greek king. Go ahead.
that all should be one people.
All should be what?
One people.
We should all be one people. We should be the Greeks. Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
And who else?
Yeah, many also of the Israelites.
Me also the who?
Israelites
Yeah, go ahead.
consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
And that's what happened to us. We stopped being Israelites. We stopped circumcising our kids. That made us really. That's the one thing that made us an Israelite. Like as in regards to the nation, because we break the covenant when we don't get circumcised, and we start sacrificing the idols like the Greeks. Go ahead.
Okay.
There's more.
Verse 44. For the king has sent letters by his messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple.
In the temple, we forsook the temple. Go ahead.
And they shall profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
So what ended up happening is we had to stop keeping our laws, stop circumcising ourselves, stop calling each other. Say where you at. Stop calling ourselves Jews and be Greeks. There's more. Keep going.
That they should also leave their children uncircumcised.
What?
Leave their children uncircumcised.
Genesis chapter 17 verse 4. Go ahead.
And make take this off. Take that off.
Go ahead.
And they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation to the end that they might forget the law.
We forgot what?
The law.
We forgot the law. The law is it says this in Ecclesiastes chapter I think it's 17 verse 11. The law was our heritage. We forgot who we were. That's what happened. We had to call ourselves Greeks, and we forgot exactly who we were. Just like how the blacks and Hispanics came here, we got our heritage beat out of us, and what did we become? What did we become after that? We became Americans. The same thing happened. It's the same exact thing.
Like if it would have said to the Jew first and to the American.
Yeah.
Change all the ordinance. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
And he should die if we didn't want to go along with that. Just like if we wanted to keep using our language and keep calling ourselves whatever we were calling ourselves off the ships, we would get put to death. That's what happens. It's the same thing happens over and over again.
I believe a lot about this. I believe, to me, God is love, and I think all we can do is go forward in love. But I believe that there's a lot of awfulness, like that. Retribution has to come. I don't know, but I'm not God. I don't think any of us are. We don't know exactly. I mean, we can look at Revelation. Maybe exactly those things will come true. I guess that's what y'all believe. But yeah, I mean, some sort of retribution might be I believe a lot about that. It was worse than anything that you can think of in history.
Yeah, exactly. It was prophesied that we would go into captivity and slave ships. Yeah, it was awful.
It was awful. It was the worst
Abominable.
thing in all of history.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Probably not much you can say except for the Holocaust.
I wouldn't say the Holocaust at all, to be honest, because that's like thousands of people calling themselves Jews, and a lot of that stuff that they said ended up turning out being lies. Like some of the gas chamber stuff is straight fiction.
It would have blown up the whole. It would have blown the Nazis up too.
Yeah.
That's white on white crime. That's not another nation taking another nation. That's two Caucasian races going against each other. But when you go to the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Indians, we not the same people as y'all. So that's basically causing war right then when you're going against another nation. So that's in-house situations. That's not the same as what happened to us.
And I want to touch on what you said earlier. You said when we look at you said when we look at what who God is, and we look at His Word and stuff. Let's deal with that real fast, right? Because He's not specifically. If you're not an Israelite, He's not your God. Watch this.
This is Joel chapter 2 verse 27.
And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel,
Most High God saying, I'm in the midst of Israel.
and that I am the Lord your God,
Your God, the Israelites,
and none else.
and none else. He's nobody else's God. Now, when you look at the word, get this. Psalms
All right.
147.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word,
The Bible,
unto Jacob,
unto Jacob, the Israelites.
his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation.
He hasn't done so with any other nation. The same way he did with us by bringing us out of Egypt and giving us his law, statutes, commandments, and giving us the law of circumcision that separates us from everybody else. He hasn't done that with everybody else. Go ahead.
And as for his judgment, they have not known them.
And they haven't known them.
Praise ye the Lord.
And we say praise the Lord that y'all don't know that.
That's right.
That's just how it is. Like you get like all the spiritualism that all the other nations say that they have is it's fiction. It's only for the Israelites. According to the Bible that attests to that God, he says he's only for them. Yeah, Deuteronomy. Let's see what the Bible says. Let's see what the Bible says, right? Let me, go.
And like you said, basically, you know the difference right now because we didn't go to school for none of this. A lot of these people go to school to learn the Bible. We just woke up one day, start watching videos, and got taught by the men of the Lord, and we got it this quick. And you would think we went to school to know all this biblical history. They let you know the Lord dealing with us, not like the other nations, because we ain't got to go to a theologian school or none of that. We learned this, and we are confound theologians out here. Scholars.
Really? Now watch this. Hold on. Because you said, you asked, are you inferior? Let's see what the Bible says.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art a holy people
Talking to the Israelites, thou art a holy people.
unto the Lord thou God. The Lord thou God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So according to God, you are inferior to us because we are above all the people on the face of the earth. I mean, you could say that y'all are beasts. I mean, if you want to look at prophecy, it calls y'all beasts in certain aspects, but I mean, I don't. I just call y'all the devil the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
I mean, it's unfortunate for you.
Like, so you're just here to condemn?
I'm not here to condemn. Well, I mean, it's you're here, but if you see a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American who's on this sign right here, we come and preach to them and give them the good news.
That's right.
I mean, I'll talk to you. If there's nobody out here, if you got questions, I'll go into it. But I mean, I'm gonna say this isn't for you. There's nothing you can do to get your salvation.
That's right.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, it's according to the Bible. It's not even up to me. It's literally up to God, and all the scriptures say that everybody who put Israel into captivity is going into captivity. There's nothing you can do. Even Christ, to be honest, I'm gonna say it like this: if God said that through the prophets, Christ can't do anything to go against that. Nothing. So even if I mean, I want this to be known. I'm not saying he did say this, but if he did, that would go against God, and he can't do that. So either way, all the prophecies that the prophets said in the midst of Yahweh, oh, not Yahweh, I want to say that in front of her, in the midst of the Most High God, in the midst of God, in the midst of God. No, yeah, I'm not saying that with you. In the midst of God, they have to happen. Like Jeremiah, when he said y'all are going to captivity. Like Isaiah 14 said y'all are going to be brought to the land of God for servants and handmaids. Like with the prophecies that was revealed to John about he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All that has to happen. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. Just, I mean, tell your friends, tell your dad. I mean, there's nothing. He went to school for nothing. I mean, I'm just going to say, like, he went to school for nothing. He paid all this money to not know the Bible. He didn't go to school?
No.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Let's give me Psalms. I want to show you one more thing about your dad before you go. Give me Psalms 50. You know, take hold of my statue. You know, book. You give me Malachi chapter 1 verse 3. I want to show you one more before you go. One more.
Psalms 50 and 16. The book of Psalms chapter 50 and verse 16. But unto the wicked,
her father and her,
God said, what hast thou to declare my statutes?
Yeah.
Or what thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth.
So you have no reason to pick up this word, man. You've studied. Give me the children of fathers inherited lies, man. I think that's Jeremiah
19.
19. Is it 16 or 19?
Maybe.
Just find it. So basically, like, what he's gonna find out is he's the wicked according to the Bible because he's an Edomite just like her. And I hope she has a bad day, man.
That's right.
I hope she has a bad day. I hope she tells all of her family, look, man, I met these aggressive black men that said we're going into captivity. They told me there's nothing I can do to get my salvation, man.
That's right.
I hope she tells all of her family that because that's what it is, man. And that's what Christ wanted us. That ties so good into my lesson, man. Because my lesson is going into the Lord's Prayer, man. Matter of fact, I need all the time. I'm just gonna hold on to that, man. I'm gonna hold on to that because I use a lot of time up here, right? But give me that, Shirley. You got that, Shirley? Yeah, go ahead.
This is Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely.
Yeah, say surely because she's a Gentile. She's Goy. She's the other nation. She's not an Israelite. She's an Edomite according to the Bible. They're gonna come around and be like, what?
Surely our father have inherited lies.
Surely their fathers have inherited lies, and her father literally inherited lies. That's right. So, right. You see it happening right now, man. You see prophecy unfolding before your very eyes. You can't. You have. That's funny, man. She called their dad and asked him, "Is there any scriptures that God? Is there any scripture that overrides when Christ said He came for the Israelites?" He's like, "Hold up, I'll call you back." He got no answers. Bro. He had to go to Google, bro. Huh?
She pretty much said that.
Yeah, exactly. Her father inherited lies, bro. That's crazy, man. He said, "Oh, I gotta call you back. I gotta go on Google. I bet if I Google verse that say salvation's for everybody, the first verse is gonna be Romans 1:16, bro. And all praises. I got a video about that on the channel, and I proved evidently that those people are Israelites, man.
Right.
It's give me hold on. Give me a mouth that no man can gainsay nor resist, real fast, right?
Yeah.
What's up?
Like I said earlier.
And they who trust in him shall not be confounded.
Exactly. Those who trust in him go into faith and believe and have works behind it. If you do that, nobody can confound you, man. Who's ever been confounded who put their trust in the Most High God, man? It's crazy, bro. And I accidentally slipped up and said the Most High God's name in front of her. And you know what's funny? Then she had to go. You know why? Because the name is a terror unto the heathen, bro. I love the Bible, bro. I love it, man. I love this truth. Because nobody can tell me no lies no more, man.
That's right.
Can't nobody tell me no lies. I know what the scriptures say. I don't have to go to somebody to lie to me anymore. And tell me, give me that Timothy's, I think it's having itching ears. I think it's 1 Timothy 6, I believe. People themselves, teachers having itching ears.
The book of Luke chapter 21 and verse 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries.
Give her a what?
A mouth.
A mouth, like our words. It fires like darts and like arrows, man. And it's going to hit truly, man. It's going to be hit right on the bullseye every time because we are in the spirit of Christ. As much as the scoffers want to say we're not on the comment section, man. As much as y'all want to try to terrorize us on the comment section, we're evil people when we confound somebody according to the Bible, man.
That's right.
Christ said he'll give us a mouth that what?
A mouth and wisdom.
And what?
And wisdom.
Wisdom, because we know the scriptures now. We can't get lied to. Go ahead.
Which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist.
They shall be able to what?
Shall not be able to.
Hold up. To all your what?
Adversaries.
Your adversaries. What's adverse? What's an adversary? What's the adversary? That's Shaitan, man. That's right. That's Shaitan. That's you Edomites, man. Y'all can't gainsay nor resist. Read it.
Which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist.
Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 1. But none of your adversaries may be able to gainsay nor resist, man. Because this is what, as much as somebody wants to comment on the comment board, why y'all always going to the Edomites? Why y'all always doing that? Because really, y'all need this, actually. Because if we just go to Jake all the time, what if somebody tries to press y'all on doctrine? Y'all gonna have no way to confound it. Because y'all haven't got any experience in the seeing people confound them. This right here is what made me come into this truth, man.
Right.
The assignment of this, the assignment of telling them they're the devil the Bible speaks of according to the scriptures, and that this is my God. It wakes me out of bed every day, man. Because if I didn't have this truth, I'm just a nigga in America.
Right.
If we don't have the Bible? If the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't have the Bible and to know that they're the true children of God, what do you even have to wake up for in the morning, man? All y'all do is play 2K and die, man. To be a nigga and die.